meeting for Lopatcong Township for December 28th to order. I would ask that everyone please bow their head for a moment of silence. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Ledger and the Express Times in the Warren County Zone and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please.
Councilman Belcaro.
Here.
Councilman McQuaid.
Here.
Councilman Polito. Council President Wright.
Here.
Mayor Mengucci.
Our mayor-elect has told me that I must stop at this point, so I don't know what's up, but
I appreciate it. Mayor, I would like to pause for a moment and recognize Senator Doug Steinhardt and invite him up to the podium. He has a presentation in your honor.
okay.
Everybody.
Mr. Mayor, how are you, sir? Merry Christmas, everybody. I have the privilege of bringing with me a joint legislative resolution from Assemblyman DeMayo and Peterson and myself, signed by the Senate President, Nick Scutari, and the Speaker of the Assembly, Craig Coughlin. Happy to read it into the record if you'll permit me. It's not super long. It says, whereas the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey are pleased to salute the Honorable James E. Mengucci, a highly esteemed member of his Garden State community, as he concludes a superb tenure as mayor of the Township of Lopatcong, Warren County, on December 31, 2023. And whereas continuing a family tradition of public service, James E. Mengucci took the oath of office as Lopatcong Councilman in 1998 before assuming the mantle of responsibility as mayor in 2018, and since then his visionary leadership and unwavering dedication to his neighbors have earned him the abiding respect of his colleagues, constituents, and all who know of his many outstanding accomplishments. And whereas a consummate volunteer who has lent his considerable expertise as a Warren County Community College trustee, gives generously of his time and energies to the Buildings and Grounds Committee of St. Mary's Church in Alpha, a consequential post informed by his experience as a certified educational facilities manager and former director of facilities of the Phillipsburg School District. And whereas James Mengucci has been upheld in his life and work by his son Nicholas, in whom he takes great pride, and whereas the strength and prosperity of the state of New Jersey and the effectiveness of our American society depend in great measure upon concerned citizens, exemplified by James E. Mengucci, who utilize their unique skills and talents to improve the quality of life for all residents. And whereas through his inspired and effective governance, James Mengucci has exhibited an uncommon measure of public spiritedness, and in doing so has set a standard of excellence toward which others might strive. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey that this legislature hereby commends James Mengucci, pays tribute to his sterling record of service, leadership, and commitment, and extends sincere best wishes for happiness all the days of his life.
I didn't realize I was that good,
Okay, for that extra work.
Thank you very much, Senator. I've said it before, said it in Oregon, that Doug Steinhardt is going to be our best mayor in this township, so I certainly appreciate him and what Trudy, glad to see you feeling better, Trudy. So we go from here. I'm going to miss it, but if anybody's interested in where I'll be Wednesday night, I'll be in the back row, looking forward rather than sitting up there looking out. So again, I love this township, I love its people, I always have. So I give my thanks to Senator Steinhardt. We go from here. Thank you. I need a motion to come out of executive session.
Make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
The town council met in executive session where it discussed two privileged matters, one contractual and EMS update, and one attorney-client privilege regarding ethics training. No official action was taken, and minutes from the executive session will be released at such time as the council deems no public harm will come from it.
All right, thank you. Folks, public comment, agenda items only? John?
sorry. Could you explain agenda item number 1, the,
John, do I know?
I'm sorry, 38 J Lane? Number 1 under the old business, specifically, what is the amendment and how has it changed since it was already approved on April 5th? And if changes were made, were they discussed in a public meeting? And, you know, when were they discussed? So what's different about this?
George, you want to enlighten that a little bit?
Can we wait till the item comes up after, you know?
We can do that if you want.
You want
Sure.
me to come back up when the item comes up?
Well, George will give a.
George will give a little-
presentation.
Okay.
On number
Can I
1.
make a statement about it then?
You can do whatever you want with your time.
Yeah,
Do you want me to make it now or then?
we probably should do it on a public comment.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, it's specifically for that item now.
We-
Well, I think now is the time to make it.
Okay.
If you wanna make
Give
it-
your presentation about it, but you can do what you want with your time, and now's the time to, I guess, make whatever comments you're gonna make.
Okay, so I just wanted to comment that in general, the entire process that's going to enable a warehouse to be built on prime farmland seems to me like it's been a charade. Between council meetings that were packed with out-of-town union workers making pro-warehouse statements when the property was discussed, the only time they attended, the Mike Lavery telling me on April 5th that neither public information meetings nor a public hearing is required to seek Highland Center designation, the Bill Wright denying warehouses could be built on the property while serving on the subcommittee that proposed them. Bill made the ridiculous, and I will explain, claim on multiple occasions that the only reason Lopatcong is building a warehouse on the property is because Lopatcong is doing so, even though the 500,000 square foot warehouse is 80% in Lopatcong. The Lopatcong mayor and council stated concerns about this warehouse on multiple occasions due to the environmental impact and backlash from their citizens. And some council members, including the mayor, have specifically stated they do not support it. They wanted to remove the property from the Highland Center request, but the Lopatcong attorney insisted that it remain part of the request. During the October Lopatcong council meeting, they were suspicious of and voted unanimously to not support a solar panel proposal on that warehouse because they feared it would show support for the warehouse itself. It is clear that Lopatcong does not want the warehouse, but Lopatcong does. So Bill, you know, when you said that the Lopatcong is only building a warehouse there only because Lopatcong is doing it, that's been completely debunked. But in the end, it was Mike Lavery telling Lopatcong attorney Benbrook that Lopatcong has made it clear to the Highlands that they were not willing to go through a protracted process to the point where Lopatcong said they'd pull out of the Highlands if given too hard a time, says it all. Lopatcong is going to aid in building this warehouse no matter what the Highlands says and no matter what the citizens of Lopatcong and Lopatcong want. So why are we going through this pretense of following due process? The council's actions throughout the entire process have deliberately excluded and deceived the public. Also, another warehouse could be built on prime farmland, the 6th or 7th plan for Lopatcong. I urge the council to do what's right, scrap the resolution, and withdraw the application for the center designation. Thank you.
all right, John, thank you. Anyone else? Public comment, agenda items only? Donna?
Donna Schneider, 26 Meadowview. I just want to say also that I urge you to withdraw this resolution because, as John said, we do have way too many warehouses already. We have 2 proposed on Strikers Road. We have 1 in Ingersoll Rand. We have the existing one on Strikers Road, and you're planning more at the mall because that's, you guys actually put the resolution together for, or the ordinance for redevelopment that you only wanted warehouses there. I would hope that you'd reconsider this, and you already have 3. You know, we're getting sued for 1. We're spending taxpayer money to fight that, yet you're going to put more in. It just doesn't make any sense. So I urge you to reconsider.
Anyone else? Agenda items only? Judy?
I've been naive in thinking that this
Can I
kind.
have your address?
Sure, Judy Liptak, Kyle Drive. I've been naive in thinking that this council has taken a step back and re-examined all of its bad decisions regarding warehouse development in this town. If the council just took a moment to open its eyes and reflect on the public safety hazards they have created, perhaps it would halt any further plans for building a warehouse on the farmland behind the mall. Over the past 2 years, we've presented various safety concerns related to the overdevelopment of warehouses and trucks on the roads and in our neighborhoods. We have illustrated time and time again about the negative impacts of warehouse development and the trucks they bring. Let me remind you of some of these impacts that you've brought to this town and its citizens. Increased crime in the area, more flooding, littered streets, loss of green space, parking on town roads and on lots without consistent and meaningful resolution, traffic backups, increase in traffic summons for trucks on weight-restricted roads. I'm sorry, am I boring the two of you? I hope you're
This is
listening.
agenda items only. Speak what
It
you
is.
say.
I'm
Let's see what I'm
talking,
writing down.
I'm
We're looking
talking
for
about you continuing the building of the warehouse on the farmland, the Highlands
Yeah, we heard
designation. Increased concerns for public safety on our roads and the destruction of pastoral way of living. There is not one time that I leave my house without witnessing at least 1 or 2 truck violations, some of which could have devastating consequences. It is only a matter of time before the blood is on your hands. After all the harm and safety concerns this council has brought to this town and surrounding area, it is unfathomable to me that you would even consider building another warehouse on the farmland behind the mall. Shame on all of you. The puppet strings are so tight that they cut off your ability to think clearly. We stood before you over 2 years ago asking about the warehouse on the mall and farm, for which it was obvious with the surprise eye rolls that you made to us, the performance was just to deflect what was truly happening. You all went as far as to blame Powhatan, all of which we now know is false. Along with the comments made by John and Donna, I reiterate, there must have been secret closed-door conversations and committees. Imagine what we would find if we dug deeper. This council has been brought before the court already over OPMA, and at last council meeting reminded of this and their inappropriate closed session agenda items. The fact that a local leader hand-delivered paperwork back in 2022 and an escrow document showing Polo as a developer back in 2021 makes all this read like a made-for-TV documentary on the below-board running of small-town politics. So I'm trying to make sense of it all. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Do we have the former mayor supporting his partner in developing a warehouse on farmland that falls under Highlands designation? What else is there that we don't know? Regardless of the above game of truth and lies, this council should rise above them all and cut their puppet strings. Think freely and do what is right for the citizens of Lopatcong. Put public safety and protect the rural way of living at the forefront of your decision-making and stop further development of the warehouses in this area, particularly the one in the farmland. Your New Year's resolution should be honesty, participating in open discussions, protecting all citizens of Lopatcong, and stopping the further development of warehouses in this area. Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions, comment, agenda items? Seeing none, I'll move in old business. Number 1 is a resolution authorizing submission of a petition to the Highlands Council for
We're gonna
designation.
have a presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Mangucci and council members. My name is John Drexinger from Luminates. We're a solar developer. We developed a project at 9,000 Rand Boulevard on Building 7 about 2.5 years ago. A portion of that project was stranded because the tenant in the building, Uniqlo, their usage had declined, so we had to separate that out with the utility. And we've been working for about 1.5 years to get a approval through the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities as a community solar project. One of the requirements is a letter of support from the township. And we appreciate you guys allowing us to present tonight. The project is about 1.6 megawatts. It's already built on the top of the roof of the building. We do have to install some electrical equipment on the ground adjacent to the berm area. All of the underground conduit work is already done. So probably about 2 weeks ago, the Board of Public Utilities closed the application window. We thought we were going to have to wait till June. To our surprise this morning, they opened up the application window again, and we submitted our project, but one of the requirements is the letter of support, which is why we're here for your consideration. I'll stop there, see if you have any questions.
So it's just letter of support allowing you to go on with the grant?
It's a requirement for the approval letter from the Board of Public Utilities, which would allow us to complete the project as a community solar project. Once the project's completed, we have a subscription company that works for us. They put together an outreach program to local residents of Lopatcong and surrounding areas. Anybody interested to sign up would receive a discount on their electric bill monthly as part of that project. It's a 20-year project, so subscribers can sign up and not continue on. People come and go, but it's meant to serve a large portion of the project is meant to serve low and moderate income residents as well as non-LMI residents.
But this isn't something that they would be given and then have to come out of? Because we had a thing here a couple of years ago where a guy wanted, you could sign everybody up in the township. You could get out of it if you wanted.
No, you're allowed to. You sign up on a monthly subscription or
What I'm
an
saying is
annual.
it's not going to force a section of the township or anybody in the township
No.
to take that. Okay,
There's no requirements from the town or any residents to sign up unless you're interested
okay,
in doing so.
all right. What kind of discount?
So it was a competitive process, and when we submitted a few weeks ago, we were at 20% and we were declined, and this morning we went in at 30. So there's an annual rate that the utility will post. It's public information, and you would receive 30% of that as a cash credit on your utility bill.
Any other questions? Bill?
From a Laney's perspective, this is allowed, it's in the adopted redevelopment plan for this site, so.
Correct.
You've already got solar panels there, correct?
Yeah, and we did apply for a zoning permit, which was approved by the town as part of the project.
All right.
It's permitted as an accessory use, and under the redevelopment plan, if there's excess electricity, it can be sold.
Yes.
In the adopted redevelopment plan, so from a Laney's perspective, this is fine.
So what you would need now is a vote of the council and then a letter stating that vote, if they voted yes, that they consent to it? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
we had
requesting?
provided a draft letter for you guys to consider.
Okay.
And if you vote to approve that, you'd put that on your letterhead, mayor would sign it, and that would be the last item we need to submit for an approval.
And as I understand, it's mayor or governing body, right?
It's mayor or town attorney.
Okay. So I guess you guys can vote to authorize me to send it.
That's fine.
Are we good?
Yes.
So I was looking at many minutes from the council meeting, and it was done by New Jersey Community Solar. Is this the same?
It's a New Jersey Community Solar Project, that's correct.
Okay, so this is the same exact spiel that was given to them for the warehouse behind the mall that's not even built yet. But you're not proposing putting solar panels on that one?
No, no. Ours are already installed on the building itself. So part of the project got stranded because of the building's usage drop post-COVID, so we had to separate that off.
I thought that we couldn't use solar because the grid was overburdened or something. Remember we asked that at their hearings about, putting solar on all the warehouses? And they said the grid couldn't take anymore?
So within that business park, there is no more capacity to install currently any additional solar on any of the buildings.
Oh.
You are correct. the capacity has been used up. Our project is part of it.
How many other buildings have solar?
None.
Oh, so it's only not those.
Yeah, there will be a system installed on the landfill in the next couple months, which is part of Phillipsburg.
So if we're then at capacity for the grid.
For that, at that time, yes, unless the utility were to install a new transformer and substation, there's no more solar that can be built in that park.
How long ago were they installed on the firehouse?
It's been completed since April of '22, so portion's been sitting there for a little while. It's unfortunate, but, you know, we work with the tenant, we work with the owners of the building, and, you know, hopefully with your approval, we can move forward with the community solar project.
I have a question. What do you mean when you call it community solar project? Just because the community has the ability to purchase the solar?
Yeah, so all the electric that's generated on a monthly basis goes through a meter. The utility sends us a reading, and we have a certain amount. We sign up residential subscribers, and you can purchase a portion of it for a monthly basis, 12 months, whatever you want, and you'll get a discount off of that rate on your bill. It'll be a cash credit on your bill. Probably sometime in January of 2025, they're going to have one consolidated bill. So you're not going to get a bill from the utility and a bill from us. It's just going to be one bill, pay the utility with your credit, and then they pay us.
Okay, thank you. And
Yep.
does this mean this is only stopping at Uniqlo? This is not, and the landfill at Baker, right? We're not moving on to any other projects? Does this mean that we are now bound to have solar?
No.
Where you?
This is just the Uniqlo building that we're requesting, yeah.
Okay, so it ends there when you're.
Any other piece of that property is all in Phillipsburg anyway.
It's,
Right,
yeah.
but I'm talking about within.
It's site-specific, that's what this is.
It's only specific to Uniqlo, it's not going to, this
Correct.
contract is only for the Uniqlo building.
That's correct.
We're not putting solar anywhere else, and this doesn't tie the town to
No.
require them to put it anywhere else.
Specifically for this one
Okay,
application.
I just want to make absolutely clear.
And this one fulfills the grid anyway. There's no more room anywhere else.
There's no more room on
There.
Of
the
your
circuit.
property.
Right.
But there could be other places in town.
Could be other places throughout the utility territory, but right now, I'm just here for this project.
All right,
If you want to have a vote.
take a vote on it to send a letter of support, right? That's really what you want?
Yep, authorizing me to send a letter of support.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Mangum?
Yes. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Have a nice night.
Yep. All right, under old business, number one is a resolution authorizing submission of a petition to the Highlands Council for designation of Highlands redevelopment area, block 102, lots 9, 9.01, and 9.03. I want to give a brief explanation on that.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, thank you. The reason for the resolution and the resubmission to the Highlands is that after a substantial amount of discussion with the Highlands staff, they have recommended that the application to include basically the mall and the area behind the mall, as well as some of the single-family homes along the canal, along that portion of the canal, in an expansion of the township center. They have asked that that application be changed and that the application for center amendment actually exclude the mall and what is being referred to as the farmland behind the mall. And that we make a separate application for a designated Highlands redevelopment area that would cover what is the mall and the open farmland behind in a separate application to be designated as a Highlands Center. And what essentially this resolution is doing is requesting that the Highlands Council consider our request to include those two areas, those two properties, in a Highlands designated center, which essentially will be handled administratively differently, and also require us to make additional submissions to them in terms of what is intended to go in that area, how we're going to handle it, what restrictions are going to be put on it, as a new process, essentially starting over the mall area. And basically, the site is broken into two pieces, as you're all aware. The cubes was approved on the front half, the old mall. That will basically remain intact and as approved. And then the Highlands Council, through this process, will address the development of the rear of the property. What they felt is that this gives them more say in how the rear is developed, how they can stipulate about what types of development occur, the intensity, and how the natural systems in the back will be protected. So they really think that this is a better way to go with our request to them, and it actually gives them more leverage in terms of how the process will go forward. So this is the first step in making application to be considered as a Highlands redevelopment area. And as you're all aware, if you count them all in the front, the area in the back, the redevelopment area covers about 155 acres total is involved in that. And that's really it at this stage. We will be proceeding before the Highlands Council to discuss the development and what their concerns are, and if any restrictions or additional criteria they want us to consider as part of that development. But officially, we are withdrawing the mall and the farm behind from our request for center expansion, and then requesting that they consider it as a Highlands redevelopment, which is what they think is the proper process.
All right, gentlemen?
I didn't hear because he wasn't talking in his mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm confused when I didn't hear the
So,
part I heard.
This isn't a hearing.
I know it's not a hearing, but I didn't hear what he said, and I have the right to hear what he said. So either he starts over and repeats it talking in the microphone, or I can ask exactly what I didn't hear.
Okay, you can,
I have a right to hear what he said. I've said over and over again, you guys don't use your microphones. I can't hear, I'm deaf.
yeah.
The wall's on my side here.
You have to let it be known.
I have let it
immediately.
be known.
You should have said something the minute he started talking if you can't hear it. We're not playing games.
I'm
I'm
not
done with
playing
this.
games. I didn't hear what he said. You guys keep excluding me. I tried to stop. He's at mid-sentence. Should I jump up and down? I don't know what to do. I've had to ask Paul, and he's very diligently, he stops and he speaks in the mic.
Judy asks this like every meeting, guys.
And we can go back to the tapes and look. I'm always asking.
I don't mind.
You want to repeat it?
Yeah, I have no problem repeating it.
You better pull that microphone up close.
Just talk in the mic so I can.
No, I'm sorry, I apologize. Essentially what is happening this evening is the Highlands Council, after reviewing our request to expand the center, to incorporate not only the mall and the farm fields behind, but also some of the existing homes that border the old canal in an expansion of the center, they have come to the conclusion that they think that administratively, it would be more appropriate that this be considered as a Highlands redevelopment area. And they've specifically requested that if we are moving forward, that we withdraw our request to expand the center, amend the center designation, to remove the existing Phillipsburg Mall and the agricultural land setback from that request. And that if we are proceeding, we should proceed under what they're calling a designated Highlands redevelopment area. It's a different administrative procedure with them. It gives them what they feel is greater control over what is going to happen on the back, if anything, because the Highlands Council must still approve this, obviously. But it gives them greater control to talk about and have us consider or include things on buffering, on the size of the buildings, on the height of the buildings, what we're doing to protect the natural environment that's back there. And it allows them more leverage to intervene on the design standard side of this. And they've asked us to formally consider that approach. And what this resolution is doing is basically abandoning the request to include these areas in an expanded center. And we're asking them to consider them under the procedure to consider a designated Highlands redevelopment area. It's a different procedure. It's different requirements that we must submit to them, and they get to review them. And that's essentially what this is. It's basically a request that gives them, quite frankly, more leverage on the process. And they'd like us to, if we proceed, to go forward under this process. And that's what we're asking council to consider tonight, is to have us go forward under what they call a designated, it's an actual formal process, Highlands designated area. And that's all this is. And then we begin the process of resubmitting, writing reports, and starting that process with them.
Thank you, I appreciate you clarifying and speaking in my.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? Motion to act on number one?
Make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. Number two is ordinance number 23-24, second reading and public hearing to delete Chapter 97 entitled Curfew and replacing same to be consistent with NJSA 48-2.52. So I need a motion to open it up to the public.
Motion.
I'll second it. Folks, questions, comments on number two? Hearing and seeing none, motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to act.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. And number three is ordinance number 2023-25, second reading and public hearing to delete chapter 145 entitled, does that say massage rather than message?
Spelled wrong.
Somatic.
Spelling
It's
error.
spelled wrong.
Okay.
Massage.
Yes. That's what I said. Massage, body work, and somatic therapy established and replacing, saying to be consistent with NJSA 4511-53. Need a motion to open up for
Make the
the,
motion.
I'll second it. Folks, questions, comments? Donna? Sure.
Yep.
26 Meadowview, Beth, if you don't know. What is the wording now for this? Why are we taking it out? Has it changed, and what is it now? What does that mean for the
Yeah,
town?
so this is pretty routine. All the ordinances get reviewed and they get updated as laws get updated and just things that are noticed that are different. With this one, so I think that's what all of these are on for tonight.
Out of our code, you know, the project that we.
Yeah.
working on.
So this one, I didn't draft this one, but I was reviewing it prior, and I think the primary difference on this is, for 145-6, investigations fingerprint applicants. It's basically, parroting that law, for the overall, regulation of these places, allowing for background checks, fingerprinting that has to do, just putting it in our ordinance that it's
necessary.
required to, because
Right.
we provide permits for it. So, all our permits need to be complied with this. And also, on 145-2, it adds the, permit required for these, establishments. And then the second one, to get our permit, they need to comply with all their licensing requirements under the statute too, which wasn't previously required.
Okay.
So it is really an administrative review of these ordinances just to make sure they comply with the law.
Yeah, I was just curious to know what the.
Yeah.
That was a weird one.
Yeah.
Anyone else, questions, comments on that? Motion to close?
Motion. Second.
Motion to act. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menducci.
Yes. Number 4 is number 23-26, second reading and public hearing to delete chapter 195 titled Solid Waste Disposal and replacing same to be consistent with NJSA 13-1E-1. Solid waste disposal. Questions, comments, folks?
Motion to open.
Or, I'm sorry, motion to open it up? Motion to close?
Second.
I didn't hear a motion to open.
I'll motion it. I'll-
Second. All right, motion to act?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menducci.
Yes. All right, the consent agenda, items 1 through 4. If anybody wants to know what Common Sense for Animals is, that's basically our outfit that takes our dead deer away. Have a motion on that?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menducci.
Yes, council reports, Mr. McQuaid?
I don't have any council reports, Mayor.
Mr. Belcaro?
I don't have anything, Mayor. Happy New Year.
Is that right?
The only thing I have is we're getting very close with our, what do you want to call him, our special cop that's going to be taking care of traffic. I hear all he has to do now is pass his physical, and we should be able to swear him in next week, or next month, I should say.
All right,
And that's all I have.
all right. Nothing for me tonight. Paul?
I have nothing to report, Mayor. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Chief's not here. Approved department reports. Do we have any to approve? All right. Approved payment of bills.
Pay it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menducci.
Yes. Folks, questions, comments? Donna?
I just have a question regarding number 2 on executive session. Ethics training, is that for the entire building, ethics training? Or is that something specific to somebody?
No, I can't go into details because it's obviously an executive session, but it is just attorney-client going over like the guidelines.
The guidelines for, and that is an allowable item for executive session.
It is, yeah.
It is, okay, so for the record, you're saying that should be an executive session and not an open session?
It had to, the executive session was proper because we went over attorney-client privileged information. What was discussed, I can't go into, but yes. The
Okay.
Executive session was proper.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? John?
Yeah, thank you for the I'm sorry, 38 Jade Lane. Thank you for the explanation on the resolution for the Highlands. But I do have a question. Isn't the mall already in Highland Center? Or they want to create a new Highland Center, including something that's already there?
The mall itself, if you're referring to the old Phillipsburg. Mall,
Yes,
That
yes.
is in the Highlands.
Okay, just the piece behind it is
So
not currently.
we're going to limit this to just public comment, not questioning for anything.
Oh,
but-
he said questions and comments.
I did say that, yes, but that's just public comment. I believe the agenda says public comment.
Yeah, it is just a public comment session.
So you're not going to answer questions?
It's not it's just a moment for you to have a
Okay.
public comment.
So during the last council meeting, it was identified that the council discusses items in executive session that don't seem, at least on the surface, to belong there as opposed to in an open public meeting. I understand meetings from the executive sessions are supposed to be available once confidentiality is no longer required. I've looked at the council website and cannot find any executive session meetings posted ever. So I guess I'm not allowed to ask questions, but those minutes, even after they are out of their confidentiality requirements, cannot be found.
So any requests, this is not going to be a question and answer. I'm just going to say.
I know, it's not-
Any requests have to go during regular business hours.
So I'll make the statement, I guess. We have to come down and ask for each specific, we have to put in a request. Is that an open request or just a request?
Again, no questions. This is going to be time.
You guys have been exceedingly helpful. Thank you very much.
Anyone else, questions, comments? Judy?
You said questions.
I did say
So I
that.
have a question / you're not going to answer question statement. I wonder when the public can ask questions. I understand during hearings, when you open it up to questions. I understand we can ask questions, although there've been times you haven't answered when it's agenda items. That's kind of has been selective. So as a citizen, when I have a question about something in the town, when do you ask it? I really don't know. I would think that there should be an opportunity for that. That's what open government would be about. But I guess you're going to sit there and not ask. So maybe I'll ask an attorney in another town, because they'll probably tell me. So with that question, comment that you won't answer, I don't know if you've noticed that there's an increase in door-to-door solicitation in this town, which is a public safety concern. With all the criminal activity and all the deception and the fraud that is happening around the country, I would hope that this town really thinks carefully about allowing solicitors to come door to door. It's just unsafe. Children at home, elderly people at home by themselves. I've had 2 people show up at my door within the last month selling something different. That is not safe. Please protect your citizens of Lopatcong.
Anyone else, questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, George.